Next, we'd like to turn to research, and for more on that, we're going to talk to Dr. Bob Wettemann, Regents Professor for Reproduction here at Oklahoma State. Bob, what are you researching now?
We're looking at how the level of nutrition that a calf is exposed to in the uterus before the time of birth might influence how that calf grows after the time of birth, and most important, how it might influence the composition. Most of the cells of an animal are formed before the time of birth. The only cells that are formed after birth would be a few fat cells up to a year of age in cattle. But all the muscle and bone and nerve cells are formed before the time of birth, so things that the calf is exposed to in the uterus could influence the rate of formation of different cell types. Remember, we start with one cell at the time of fertilization, and during the first several weeks after the time of fertilization, we have those cells that change into the many different cells that make up an animal.
All right, now take us through the experiment you're using to actually study that problem.
What we're trying to do is look at how the level of nutrition of a fall calving cow might influence the growth rate of the calf in utero, the growth rate of the calf up until the time of weaning, and ultimately the growth of that animal and the composition of the animal when it gets up to market weight of about 1,200 pounds. And so what we are doing is we take animals that calf in September and October and put these on supplemental protein, because during the winter most of our native grasses have very low quality of protein, and so we need to supplement those. So our treatments would be, our control cows receive 4 pounds of a 38% crude protein supplement from the middle of November up until the 1st of March. Okay. And this is very common for a lactating cow in Oklahoma. Our animals on our low level of nutrition only receive a half a pound of protein every day. And so what we're looking at is how the level of protein to the cow influences forage intake, digestibility, and protein availability to the calf in utero. Okay. And so this is happening the first year. The next year we put the animals on the same levels of nutrition after the time of calving when the cows are lactating, to look at how this might influence milk production and how this also influences growth of the calf.
All right, now this all sounds, I mean, we're talking about cows, but I wonder, is there a connection with humans possibly here? Can we learn something about ourselves?
Way back in the early days of the Dutch famine back in the 40s, what they found is they followed the people up to adulthood, and what they found is that when women were exposed to low levels of nutrition during pregnancy at different stages, this could have an effect such as weight gain of people, heart problems, up until old age in humans. And so a lot of the things that we're looking at in animals occur in all animals, including humans.
Very good. Now, where are you at in the research? I know we're a few years in here, but talk to us about where you are as far as getting to the results, getting some information.
This group of calves right here would be our 4th year on the study, and so we weaned these in May. And what we have been looking at is how this influenced the growth of the animal up until birth. And what we found is that level of nutrition during the first 2 or 3 months of pregnancy or gestation does not influence the birth weight. Other studies would show that during late gestation, when the animal is growing more rapidly, the level of nutrition can influence birth weight, but birth weight wasn't influenced. What we did see, however, is that the growth of the animals after birth was influenced, and those animals that were exposed to a low level of nutrition in utero and a low level of nutrition after the time of birth because of the decreased milk production of the mothers on the low level of protein, what we saw is that they had a lower weaning weight. However, if we look at overall weaning weights, those cows that receive the control or the normal level of protein supplementation, those calves weighed 40 pounds more at the time of weaning. And this difference actually continued up until a year of age, in that those animals that have been exposed to the greater nutrition after the time of birth, because moms were producing more milk, what they did is they weighed 50 pounds more at a year of age.
Very good. Very interesting information, and we hope you'll keep us informed as you go further in the study.
Well, our next step will be to take these animals up through carcass, and so we can tell you does it influence the amount of muscle? Does it influence the amount of fat?
Very interesting. All right, Bob Wettemann, research specialist here at Oklahoma State University.